Well, hello. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I don't usually wear a hat at night because you don't need it at night, right? You don't need it to keep the rain off you, because if it's raining, you're going to be inside, and well, hopefully, and the sun's not shining. But I've been wearing it all day, and so my hair looks like I've been wearing a hat all day, and it's pretty frightening. So I'll save you all having to see that and keep it on. Hey, I see. And I'll tell you why I was wearing a hat all day in a minute. I see our Alabama lovebirds, the little jailbird lovebirds, have been caught. We knew that was going to happen, right? So and it's always doing something stupid. They got popped up, like I guess in their stolen car. Somebody popped them and car chase, you know, rah, 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 rah. We're going to get away, darling. And they never get away. They never get away. So they crashed the car. I guess Vicky was driving. The first report said that he was driving. What's his name? Casey? Casey White? Vicky White. The Whites. No relation. The first report said that he was driving, and I thought, you know, that makes no sense at all. Guys who spend most of their time in the joint are not very good drivers. So anyway, it looks like she was driving. You know, of course, I mean, you know, she worked inside. Just because she was a deputy sheriff doesn't mean she was a good driver. So naturally, they wrecked. I guess maybe one of the pursuit cars rammed them or not. I don't know. And it doesn't make any difference. The thing is, they got him. And she evidently gave herself a shot, self-inflicted wound. Who knows whether she was really trying to off herself or whether she was just trying to make sure that she went to a medical center instead of jail, or looking for sympathy. Who knows? You know, she probably went through this scenario in her head. What if I get caught? No, baby, you're not going to get caught. We're going to live on love and your $200,000 for the rest of our days. She's lucky they got caught, because when that money ran out, he would have no use for her and she'd be gone. So it's going to be an interesting story from here on. I hope she's got some of that money left, because her lawyers are going to need it. So today, before I get into the main subject about the financial Armageddon, we spent the day. We just got back from the Baker Creek Seed Festival down in Mansfield, Missouri, or as people not from Missouri or the wrong parts of Missouri would say, Missouri. Great time. What a deal. I shot some video down there. It's over on the Patreon side. This thing keeps migrating, doesn't it? Wonder why. So I put it up over on the Patreon side. Some great music towards the end. Just you know, you can see kind of, I walked around, showed you the festival, and if you ever get a chance, you should go down there. For any of you all involved, interested in gardening and seeds and things like that, Baker Creek is top notch. I mean, it's the tier 1 of the seed people, right? So that's up over there, and I think tomorrow we stop by the Bass Pro, the big Bass Pro, the mothership of the Bass Pro, down in Springfield, Missouri, where the NRA has its Sporting Arms Museum. And I took you a little walk through that and videotaped that. So I'll probably put that up over on Patreon tomorrow sometime. If you're not with us on Patreon, you ought to be. I put so much stuff over there that never gets to YouTube. Either just stuff like that is kind of special for the patrons, for the members over there, or stuff that I can't put on YouTube, or it'll be taken down or demonetized or whatever. So anyway, had a great time, got back. The dog assured me he hadn't eaten anybody while we were gone, which is always good. All right. Stocks are tanking, right? The financial collapse, if it's not in full roll, we're seeing the opening bell of it. I said this some time back, wait. I've been telling people for years, don't buy stocks, don't buy stocks, don't buy stocks. They're going to go in the tank. Looks like it started. So hopefully you're not in it. Interestingly enough, I sold everything last, because I'll pat myself on the back a little bit. I timed it exactly right. I've been watching, I've been waiting. And did I sell everything last Wednesday or Tuesday? Anyway, the day before it all crashed. I started that slide. I don't think that me selling had anything to do with that. But yeah, I got out. I got one little stock that I keep, and that's no big deal. But right now, it's I put it all back in the cash account, and that's, I hope you all have that too. Just to give you an idea here, Netflix is down 71% since the first of the year. Snapchat's down 50%, Uber's down 45%, Facebook's is down 42%. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, what difference does that make? People from my generation, we're all about U.S. Steel and AT&T. No, these are the drivers nowadays. So Amazon's down 42%, Disney 35% down, Tesla's 31% down. No, I got that wrong. Disney's down 31, Tesla's down 26, Google's down 22, Amazon was down 35. Bitcoin is down 50%. The crypto is going in the toilet. Some of you might remember that I said I don't trust crypto. Don't have any crypto because I don't understand it, and those who claim that they do, I ask them to explain it to me, and they can't. I think it's a big con job. Who knows? I could be wrong. So they say 40% of investors are now underwater. You know what that means. It's like being underwater in real estate. It means that you owe more than it's worth. Interesting. In addition to that, and I just see this going down and down and down. In addition to that, we've seen the housing market start. The bubble hasn't burst, but the bubble, the air is going out of the bubble. I had a good friend of mine just sold his house at exactly the right time. I think it's beginning its slide. For any of you now, thinking about buying a house, wait a little bit. You're going to be able to get a lot more house for your money. Or, get the same house for less money. Of course, the thing is because of what we're seeing now, the Fed has just raised don't worry, I won't talk too much more technical just for a minute. They've raised the interest rate 0.5%. They said that they were going to raise it up to 7 times this year, ostensibly to slow down this raging economy. Well, they're going to have to do it to stop inflation. And that means that it's going to be more expensive for anybody putting anything on credit like a car or a house, which most people do. Not many people can buy a house with cash. And so that's going to put a crimp in it. Now, what does that mean? It could be devastating. I mean, you add that with our current inflation, which they claim is 8.5%, and I think is a big lie. And when you add in the food, I'm calling it 20 to 25%. Food and fuel, because those aren't counted in the inflation figures because they're too volatile. Because it would make it look too bad if they did. When you add that in, I'm guessing inflation's at 20 to 25%. You may have a different opinion. Whatever. That's what I look at it at. We just got back from a trip, and my vehicles use a lot of gas, and it about makes me dizzy seeing that thing go around and around and around like that whenever I'm filling them up. At least I didn't take the excursion. It's got a 40-gallon tank, and it gets 7.5 miles to the gallon. So what do? That's the important thing. You got to pull in your horns. You've got to, if you have debt, try to get rid of it. If it's, now here's the thing. I'm not going to get too deep into economics, because every time I do, people will come out and they'll throw some junk out there that doesn't make any sense, but they think that it does, and I'm not going to argue with it. There is good debt and there's bad debt. Okay. There is good credit. Actually, credit is always good. It's always good to have a whole bunch of people who will loan you a lot of money, because sometimes you can make money with that. That's a whole nother story. Just trust me. If you don't believe it, I don't care. That's okay. You don't want to do it, believe Dave Ramsey or whatever. But that's all right. There is some good debt. Most debt is bad. Okay. Good debt is on things that appreciate at a rate that's higher than the interest rate. That's all I'll say. I swear, no more of that. What do? This is the thing. Pull in your horns. Definitely don't spend any money that you don't have. That means credit on anything except like a house, okay? Or a car if you need it and you can't afford a car and you got to have a car. I understand that. If you've got a job, keep that job. And I said this the other day, if you can find other ways to make money, do it. Start doing it now. Get those feelers out there. Throw that bait. Let people know, because as time get hard, they get hard for everybody. And it really can be an opportunity for people who want to get out there and work. You know, what do I mean by that? Well, as Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you know, their toilet needs to be replaced, or their pipes are stopped up, or whatever, something needs to be fixed. But things are tight, right? And maybe one of them lost a job, maybe one of them lost some hours. But even if that's not the case, more and more of their money's being eaten up with food and fuel and everything like that. They want to find a cheaper way to get their stuff fixed at the house. Handyman. They're looking for somebody like that. If you can go in and you have basic skills and you could do a handyman's job so that they don't have to pay the big plumber rate. I'm sorry for all the plumbers out there. I get it. I'm not trying to put you out of business. But, you know, for these big companies, independent plumbers, I'm with you. But the big companies that, you know, they got 50 red trucks running around and they're paying their guys not near what they're charging the people. This is going to be an opportunity to kind of put yourself out there and build a business of your own. And if you can fix stuff around somebody's house, the word gets out, because the world is full of people that don't either want to or don't know how to fix stuff themselves. You're always going to be needed if you can fix stuff. Whatever, if there's things other than that you can do, I'd suggest that now would be a good time to put it out there. Increase your income. You want to increase your income as you kind of pull that outgo back in. Start saving. It's going to be tough. There's not a lot you can do with food unless you're a prepper. Now here's where, you know, hopefully a lot of you have a lot of stored food. Now I'm not talking about getting into the emergency stuff, but what I've said before is your best long-term emergency food supplier is your grocery store. And hopefully you've been buying canned goods and boxed meals, something like this, long-term stuff. Hopefully you've been buying it for years. And so, like I always say, when you need a can of corn, you're not going to be, you run down there to the basement and get a can of corn. You're not going to be getting a $1.49 can of corn. You're going to be getting a 29-cent can of corn that you bought 5 years ago, right, on sale. So if you're a prepper, you should be in great shape food-wise. If you're not, you weren't doing it enough. Now, it's going to be difficult to say whether to do it now or not. I would, if it was me, I would continue. As a matter of fact, I still do. I still bring in food, you know. It's not like someday you're not going to eat it, right? If you get the right stuff. There's no way you're going to lose on food, and you always need food. So do what you can on that. And if you don't have a lot up, I'd suggest you shop those sales. There's going to be fewer and fewer sales. But shop those sales and bring in what you can. Shop a lot of Aldi. and realize that as inflation goes, everything's going to get higher. So the dollar that you spend today is going to get you a lot more than the dollar you spend 6 months from now or probably a year from now. Now, you know, who knows what could happen? We could go into stagflation. We could go into, things could get so bad, we could go into deflation, which is, you know, that's Depression era stuff. Remember when people told you they could get a pound of bologna for a dime or something like that? I don't know. Well, that's because, you know, it was tough to get a dime. It's not something that you want, but it is something that could be coming our way. When you look at that, coupled with what they want to, you know, they want to take us to war. When you see what they're doing with the southern border and all that, all of these things have financial impacts. You know, a lot of people don't see that. They don't realize that. All of these things have a financial impact on what's on the average person. And the average person doesn't have anybody to rely on except for themselves. I know a lot of people got used to all those. What were those checks the government was sending out there? What were they? This, not subsidy, but stimulus checks, right? Stimulus. They stimulated the economy when everybody couldn't go to work, right? They said, well, you can't go to that restaurant job anymore that made you $50,000 a year, but here's a couple of $1,000. That ought to get you through, right? You can see what they're doing. They've been trying to put people in this bind for a long time, and now we're not in the deep part of it yet, but we're headed down the hill. We're on that big ski slope. We're up at the top, just starting down, and I think it's going to go down for quite a while. Be smart. Spend your money wisely. Try to make more money right now. Try to develop more streams of income. And, you know, it's just like I teach my kids, and I don't have to tell you. If you have control over what you're spending, and you have money coming in regularly from several different places, you're going to be in good shape. You know, not everybody suffered during the Depression. That's another secret. Not everybody suffered. A lot of people got rich during the Depression. Oh, well, it's not good to get rich on other people's, you know, troubles. I didn't say they got rich on other people's troubles. I just said they got rich. Because they found out how to do it. Probably won't get, maybe I'll get into more of that over on Patreon. Who knows? Okay. I'm going to leave it at that, but we're on the precipice. Stack your cash if you can. It's going to buy a lot less for a while in certain things, and then it's going to buy a lot more. You got to understand economics. You got to understand money. I know it's not exciting. It's not nearly as cool as a new gun or a new optic or whatever. But it's what's important in the long run, you know. You're not shooting your way out of this, right? Right? Your bug out bag is not getting you out of this, right? Your bug out vehicle, all it does is use a lot of gas. That guy in the Prius all of a sudden looks a lot more like a prepper than the guys with the big trucks, don't they? Okay, I'm going to put this to bed. And wish you all the best. It's coming. It's started. Start paying attention. Your battle now, this thing keeps going over to the side. Your battle now is going to be financial. You got to tune in. If you don't know how to do, you know, if you're not quite up to speed like you want, there's places to learn. I don't really want to get into it too much here, just to let you know it's coming. You better be ready. Prepare, 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 because you'll never be sorry that you prepared. Okay, let her go with that. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. So hopefully we prepared well yesterday in order to live well today. See, because every tomorrow eventually becomes today, right? Okay, you all have a good night. Do your best. Put on your thinking caps. Get ready. Protect yourself. Do what you know is right. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.